For today's episode, we're going to be talking about a show called Dave the Barbarian.
No?
Now, Dave the Barbarian is a show that premiered a little over 14 years ago and still to this day has a strong cult following. The show was created by a man named Doug Langdell for Disney Channel back in the year 2004. The show is a tribute parody spawned from movies such as Conan the Barbarian, with a lot more humor being added, of course. And the creator, Doug Langdell, is also the one who brought us shows such as Earthworm Jim and The Weekenders.
Yeah.
The show is highly regarded for their clever humor, many likable and memorable characters, and very well-timed jokes with a splash of that fourth wall breaks to help tie in some plots from time to time. After going back and watching the show, the jokes and humor still to this day is still very, very fresh and not outdated at all.
Brothers and sisters, and Walrus, we're here to put a stop to the plush menace. Power to the people!
Since the show didn't heavily rely on using trending culture topics at the time, or having celebrity guests in the show, which can end up working very well in your favor, or very bad as time passes, along with the likes of how South Park did with their earlier episodes and their earlier seasons when they would have celebrities. A lot of this has been outdated due to the celebrities not being as popular as they once were and more outdated and very obscured for a new viewer watching these episodes during present day.
I like that explanation.
Due to the show being a lot more free and using more basic scenarios, nothing too elaborate,
Whatever, as long as it's cute.
but the writing made up for it in the long run, and it made the show very timeless, and it still holds up very well till this day. A lot of how people praise the show on the same level of how they looked at shows like Invader Zim, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and even the Powerpuff Girls.
You've got to be a superhero with that frog.
No, not that reboot one. It had some problems. Okay, it had a lot of problems.
Yeah.
All in all, the show is very vastly underrated, and it deserved many more seasons than it got, which was sadly only one season.
Are you kidding me with that?
No, you stupid chair!
The show takes place in the kingdom of Udragoth, in which it looks like to be during the Middle Ages. It centers on Dave, voiced by Danny Cooksey, a powerful yet cowardly barbarian with a big heart, but he's not the smartest man when it comes to intelligence, but he makes up for it with his passion and wittiness. Dave doesn't really like to fight a bunch. He would much rather be cooking something or knitting, but hey, he's a cool character, and he really gives this show a lot of pizzazz, along with being able to carry the show and give it a lot more potential and be able to reach more of a higher substantial culture for the amount of humor and for the strong expressionism that can be found in so many of the characters in the show Dave the Barbarian.
You see? They love me! This is great!
Yeah, I thought I'd never get a chance to wear this shirt.
When I went back and watched the show, when I first heard Dave's voice, it sounded very familiar. So when I went back and checked out who did the voice for him, it turns out that the voice of Dave the Barbarian was being provided by the same guy that did the voice of Stoop Kid from Hey Arnold, Hot Streak from Static Shock, and the infamous Jack Spicer from the show Shaolin Showdown, which is one of the most hilarious villains of all time, and he really had a large impact on the show as a whole.
Easy, Jack. OhYeah's still out there.
Yeah, this cattle drive is just getting started.
You're just saying that because you were getting pasted. Not like my boys! Let's hear it for the automatons who get it on! Raise the roof!
Dave stays in the castle along with his two sisters of Candy and Thing. Candy being the older sister of the two, in her late teens, and she's all about the shopping and hanging out with all her friends and getting new shoes and doing things that are more on the fancier side and being less barbaric like the rest of her family.
You'll be ruler for a few days. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends.
Candy has been left in charge by her parents of, how do you say this name? Tharaktar and Glimia, who are the king and queen but are away fighting evil across the world. Sometimes very briefly in some episodes, you can see the parents communicating with the rest of the family via a magic crystal ball or a black cauldron. You also have the younger, more wilder, and slightly crazier sister Fang being voiced by Tress MacNeille, which she does a really good job bringing out the best of Fang's over-the-top excitement and relentless rage towards anyone who disagrees with her. If you remember the Animaniacs, you can definitely pinpoint her voice acting from this show because it is very similar to a very angry Dot from the Animaniacs. Now, she can get really upset whenever someone tries to refer to her as a monkey,
Princess and a chimp.
which is a pretty cool running gag that the show has going on for it, which gave me a good laugh from time to time. Together, it's up to these three siblings to run the castle, along with their good old Uncle Oswich, who is a rather clumsy sorcerer who often wreaks havoc with his spells rather than being useful. It was revealed in the episode Sorcerer Material that he never even went to sorcerer school, and he worked in the cafeteria instead. What a mook. But he's sure to make a decent spell actually work out from time to time when they finally get lucky. And the voice of Oswich, you can definitely tell it's Kevin Michael Richardson doing his best Panthro voice from the Thundercats.
So Strum wants a big dragon, huh? I'll give him a big dragon.
Panthro.
So that means I've got to listen to any idiotic order he gives me? Come on.
There you go. Together, it's up to the four of them to run and protect the kingdom from the forces of evil, like their arch nemesis, the Dark Lord Chuckles, the silly piggy.
You and I are not so different, Dave the Barbarian. We are but twin sides of the same coin.
No, we aren't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, what was I thinking?
Yeah, we're going to talk about more of him later on. There are also three more sideline-ish kind of characters that play vital roles in the show as well, but get a lot less screen time, but were still very memorable and impactful. First, we have Lula, Dave's shrill, impatient, sarcastic, enchanted sword. She has the ability of shooting lightning from the tip of her blade. She's a pretty cool sword to have, but usually trying to give Dave some good advice that he tends to ignore, and he ends up making matters worse. There's also Faffy, the yellow pig-shaped dragon, breathing lightning instead of fire, because, yeah, he's about that difference. He's got a lot going on for him. Faffy's like most of others in the show. He's not the most bright, but he tends to come off as more dumbfounded in a lot of odd scenarios, but he's a cool dragon. He's a very good pet of the royal family. And lastly, we got Twinkle, the Marvel horse, a magical pony with a rainbow-colored tail. He suffers from extreme depression and possible psychosis, apparently due to him being left on his own in a stable all the time. He often talks about his dreams in very disturbing manners.
And this soulless pet of atrocities we call life, for each of us must come agonizing torments.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
He is capable of flight, even though he does not have wings, so yeah, take that, Rainbow Dash. You got competition. His manner of speech is something that also really stood out to me, and it's a parody of the late Christopher Walken.
Nobody could do it that good, you know.
Twinkle being voiced by Jeff Bennett, who does a really great and amazing job in the show, and also doing the voice of the narrator in the show.
The land of Udrgoth, destination for many a strange traveler, but none so strange.
Which a lot of people seem to find that is very surprising. He's just a really good voice actor, and the narrator is capable of talking with the characters, and he sets up for a lot of funny moments in the show to be had, and a lot of the main characters, and he really brings out the best of them and adds that extra layer and able to break the fourth wall from time to time. Now, let's talk about the antagonist. It is, like I said before, called the Dark Lord Chuckles, the silly piggy. Which is this little piggy guy who's always angry. He's always trying to defeat Dave the Barbarian and all the rest of his family, but he tends to fail a lot from time to time. There's actually an episode in which Dark Lord Chuckles the silly piggy, which we're just going to call him Chuckles the rest of this review because that's a really long ass name. He actually ends up kidnapping the narrator, and it just made for a really hilarious episode titled A Pig Story.
The silly piggy! The Dark Lord Chuckles, the silly piggy! Ruler of the universe!
A little more about Chuckles. Yes, he is the main rival of Dave the Barbarian, but can we take him really that serious? How could you really blame him? He's some jacked up overlord pig that's hamming it up, and he's about 2 feet tall. He's not really that menacing or opposing a very big threat, but he has that magical amulet going for him, so, you know, can't really take him too lightly. Now, Chuckles is being voiced by Paul Rugg, who does a really great job in this show, and he really makes the character stand out. He takes over in this the show from time to time. Damn, this dude is so diabolical. You better watch out for Dark Lord Chuckles the Silly Piggy. Ooh, who the fuck's taking this guy serious?
Go forth, my fuzzy minions! Destroy Udragoth!
You might remember the voice actor Paul Rugg for doing other memorable voices such as Professor Rockwood from American Dragon Jake Long.
The state of our school is strong. Hear me when I say I chew other people's gum and spit it in the hair of your monkey-faced children.
Yeah, that guy was just really hilarious. He was Freakazoid in the show Freakazoid.
Let's watch the lip sync, okay?
An instant classic.
Thank you.
And I also really enjoyed his work he put in his more underrated role as Octavius in the Netflix show The Adventures of Puss in Boots.
And you're certain that this twin me will not turn out to be evil?
Just as certain as I am that chickens come from the moon.
What?
Man, I just really love this guy. He's just so freaking hilarious.
Barbarian! Barbarian!
Now, I know that the intro isn't everything when it comes to having a great show, but back then, when you had to endure through it a lot of the time to get to the actual show, it really did help when a show like this had a really banging intro. And Dave the Barbarian's intro, it had some really epic tunes, great lyrics, and it really got you psyched up for the show and filled a lot of excitement. The intro did great with having lyrics that actually made sense and had a purpose. It briefly explained the premise of the story and what you were getting yourself into when getting ready to watch an episode. Dave the Barbarian is a really epic intro and definitely belongs in the top 20 countdown for best cartoon intros, especially for Disney Channel.
The greatest heroes, but they're the only ones we've got. Barbarian, 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 barbarian.
The Jappers!
The show sadly only lasted one season for a total of 21 episodes. Dave the Barbarian even had 2 episodes be nominated for an Annie Award. One that was for writing and animation television production. For their 3rd episode that was produced titled Ned Frischman, Man of Tomorrow. The other was Wendy Graves' storytelling in the animated television production in the series' 1st episode, The Maddening Sprite of the Stump, which ended up winning. So they actually got an Annie Award for Dave the Barbarian, which is really epic.
The Jappers!
Also, while I was searching around for more information about Dave the Barbarian, I ended up finding out that McDonald's did a toy line in late December in the year 2004, and it lasted for only a month. But they also sold those Lizzie McGuire toys at the same time.
I totally rocked, and don't you forget it.
For those kids who want more of a girlier toy.
Do you mean like 4 girls?
You can still find a lot of the toys on eBay for a fairly cheap price, so if you're looking for some good old school Dave the Barbarian collectibles, there you go.
Yeah, okay.
Only a select few can remember the greatness that was Dave the Barbarian. It's one that hasn't really been talked about a bunch. It's a really great show, and if you haven't seen it, I would highly suggest you go check it out. So until next time, this has been Corey, and I'm signing off. Peace!